joining us for the Success Story series. So, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, that will be awesome.
Sure. Hi, I'm Abhishek. I've graduated with an engineering degree in 2011. And since 2011 till today, I've been in the data science field. So I worked in Bangalore for about 4 years. After that, currently work for an international bank. I was with the bank in India as well. Then I got transferred to China. I lived in China for about 1.5 years. And before leaving to China, that's when I took the GMAT for the first time. And my score at that point of time wasn't very high. It was still not the kind of score that I wanted to attain. But after that, I got a job shift, so I took that opportunity, moved to China, and after working for 1.5 years, I thought I wanted to build on my quantitative skills. So that's when I moved to Singapore in 2016. So I did a master's in data science from NUS Business School. So I graduated in 2017. And after that, I've been working in Singapore. I worked in consulting for about 1.5 years. And now I'm back with the international bank that I used to work with in India. So currently I lead, one of the data science verticals, and my work mostly focuses around investment and wealth. My work is quite hectic. And due to certain aspects, I thought I do want to build up on certain skill sets that I don't currently have, and certain goals and roles that I'm aspiring towards. And that's when I thought I should go out and do an MBA. And for doing that, I had to first plan for my GMAT. And my schedule is it's pretty hectic, right? Here work is there are long hours, and I had to fit in timing for GMAT and spend time to study. So that's when I reached out to Crack Verbal. And what I thought that pandemic had also hit, so we're mostly working from home. So the online web series, the online course, so I took that. So I took for both verbal and quant, and it just worked perfectly for me, right? Because I could manage my schedule accordingly. And I could go watch the strategy and the web series for quant and verbal, and then it's very well organized. So then I went around followed the instructions and strategy that the faculty would say in the course series. So yeah, that's been my journey, and my journey with Crack Verbal in the recent times.
So, Abhishek, what was the major difference? So, apart from obviously taking professional help, what was the major difference in your approach from your first
Yeah.
attempt to the second one?
See, I'll be honest, my first attempt back in 2014, I scored a 640, and my splits were quant 48, verbal 27 or 28. And I recently took the GMAT like 2 weeks back. I scored a 710, quant 49, verbal increased by 10 points, 38.
Wow.
So I honestly, that incremental point, I will just give all the credit to a lot of the credit to Arun sir and the strategy. Like I think it works really well for Indian students. So the way he has taught sentence correction and the strategies that he's taught, I believe after a point in time, I knew exactly what each question was testing me on, what concept were they testing me on, right? So this aspect, or how I was able to achieve this or get to clarity on this, it's all because of that course. If I would do it myself, I could probably, I would be doing the same thing before, like going solving OG questions, then going to GMAT clubs, looking at the reasoning, etc. But what you don't get to is what is the right strategy to approach each question. So that's definitely, I would say, the key aspect of this, where that there are some 7 8 strategies for sentence correction. That there are these 5 strategies for critical reasoning. That for reading comprehension, you don't need to read through all the lines. There are tricks to do that. Now, would I be able to consolidate and get all this in my mind alone? I don't think so. So that's when professional help really helped me out. And as I said, the online web series worked really well because I could manage my schedule accordingly, right? So I work for at least 10 to 11 hours every day,
Mhm.
and I dedicated 2 to 3 hours every day. Now it depends if you're a morning person or a night person. I like working studying late hours, so after I would finish work, and that's when I would do that. So that worked for me. So having the flexibility to work accordingly to the online platform worked well in that regard. And even for quant, I would like to say initially, okay, like I've been working for 8.5 years, so it's been a while since I, wrote a competitive exam, things like that. So quant is also something that I believe all of us, have to focus on. To get a 49, 50, 51, you have to practice a lot. And I think Arvind sir's videos were absolutely amazing. And I would say the weekly sessions that we had, there are these prepathons that he does on Wednesday. I would say uh, a lot. I achieved a lot from those sessions, because what he would do is pick up 10, 12 challenging questions, but he would also vary it, right? We would do 600 ranges questions, 650, but we would do a lot of 700 plus. So it literally gets you thinking, and you go through different strategies of solving one problem. So I think all this really helped, because it kind of helped me consolidate it and structure my approach to GMAT, and made me realize ki, honestly, I was it's a lot of work. It is scary to a certain extent, but getting a structure to the prep definitely helps, and I would say that's the biggest advantage that Crack Verbal got me.
Right. So, in terms of consistently preparing, also, right? Because that is, especially with working professionals like you, that is another major challenge to keep your preparation consistent to whatever timeline you're looking at. How did you manage that aspect? You said you work 11, 12 hours a day. How
Yeah.
did you manage that part?
So on very honestly, usually students take 3 to 4 months, right? But I had, I kind of gauged that I would require additional 1 or 2 months more than a typical student, because I had some project deadlines coming in, a new product launch. So I took all that into consideration, and also getting a GMAT date, right? We went through a lockdown, GMAT centers were closed, etc. And then again, they reopened. So all that I had to take into consideration my planning. But what I said that, weekends, I will dedicate Saturdays and Sundays, a big chunk of time to GMAT prep, but on a weekly basis, the web series is structured in a way that they say that, okay, go do the sentence correction videos for the first 7 days, and you'll also give exact questions from the OG that you should solve. So to start off with, I followed that structure, and I told myself, whatever happens, you need to do 2 to 3 hours every day. That kind of worked. It wasn't easy. Like, as I said, you finish work and then you either do it post work. Like, I'm ready to, I am fine with working till late, and doing those 2 3 hours. Or if you're an early person, you can wake up early and do that. But I believe the consistency has to be there. If you just stop for a month, I think it's a big drawback, because you kind of lose the flow. So to have a flow in the prep is important, but it's also important to take your time where you feel you're confident that you can take the first try. And that's where it comes from, the GMAT prep official exams. So I did an exam just before starting the prep, and after the prep I kept taking exams after periodic intervals. And I reached a certain score. I was like, okay, I'm ready for my first try. And that's when I booked a date. But I believe that unless you book a date, this can go on and on and on. This 6 months can become 10 months to a year. So that definitely helped. But yeah, it's a marathon. Like, you have to keep doing it every day. And yeah.
So when did you feel? So you mentioned that you spaced out your, mock tests also.
Yeah.
When did you feel you were ready and good to go?
So I wrote my I wrote my first exam after preparing for 2 3 months. It was a 690. Then I wrote another exam after. So first I wrote the exam, and then I identified. So you all provide an Excel sheet, right? For the OG, that helps you identify your weakness, what was tested in the question, and did you get it right or wrong, and the time. So I did the same thing for the GMAT prep. So I created my own Excel for the GMAT prep, and I identified after every exam what is my weakness. So after the first exam, I thought CR, I'm fine, but then I was like, wow, how did I get so many wrongs in CR? So, and certain areas in quant. So I identified that, and it's like, okay, I need to go back and revise that. So I did that, and then my score again, I wrote it, but it still remained at a 690. So then I'm like, okay, you've reached 690. Let's give it another 1.5 months, but perhaps you can go ahead and give it one shot. Because I remember last time I took the exam was a 640. In my mind, I was like, with my work experience, etc., I need definitely a 700 plus. But I thought, okay, I need to give a first try to the exam. So I got a date. Also, nowadays, it's slightly difficult to get a date. So I got a date and I booked it for 1.5 months in advance with a 690 in my prep. But what I went back was to go and review the exams. And I thought timing was a crucial issue. So I actually came up with I was going through some YouTube videos. There was a timing strategy that helps, right, to create blocks of questions.
Mm.
And I realized that timing was a major issue for me. I wasn't able to complete last 2 3 questions in the exam. That was dropping my score to a
Mm.
certain extent.
Mm.
That was one of the main problems. And yeah, there are certain kind of questions that I was getting wrong consistently.
Mm.
So I went and reviewed that, but my only source for prep was Crack Verbal videos and OG, like official guide, verbal review, quant review. And at the end of it, the advanced docs. And that's all I did, like no other material.
Mm.
So yeah, like I kind of took the plunge at when I got 690. And yeah, I guess things just, it worked out.
Right. So another very interesting thing that you said is about the limited source of materials that you use, right? Which is focused only on crackable stuff and the official guide. So a lot of students say that they do OG multiple times to make sure they have a hang of the kind of questions, the pattern, and things like that. Did you also follow that? What was your thought process around it?
So I just followed. So I was like, I have limited time. Like I just gave myself 6 months, and then I wanted to, right now in the phase, I want to focus on the application process. So 6 months is what I gave myself, and I'm like, I'm just going to follow. Like last time I did things myself. This time I'm just going to follow what's being told, like in the instructions. So there, again, that Excel sheet, I think it's so helpful that after you do the web series, you do each question. And what I wanted to achieve was that GMAT has these distinct patterns. And I realized this after a month, right? First, you see questions and you're like, okay, I get this. There's some modifier. This is using the which rule or a comparison. After a point in time, after I solve the questions, firstly, I think there are enough questions. There is OG and there is verbal review. That itself is a lot of question. Plus, if you include the crack verbal advanced document, I think that's more than enough data points to reach consistent. You don't need 1,000 questions because then questions are never enough. You can keep going on and on. But what is important is after you solve OG, if I just pick up a random question and give you, are you able to tell me what is being tested here? Right? GMAT is making every question with a purpose. This one is to test modifiers. This one is to test your pronouns. This one's to test your tenses or, or comparisons. After a point in time, I reached a state, at least in sentence correction, I can say that those strategies are like gold standard. Like they are fabulous. Like I believe I've reached my maximum accuracy in sentence correction. Before, I was really bad at it when back in the day, when like 6 7 years back when I did the GMAT. But after a point in time in that OG Excel sheet that I had made an additional column saying notes, and in that I would write what am I being tested on,
Mm.
and I would do that. That really helped. Again, for critical reasoning, again you can do as many questions as you want, but the whole strategy about how you should focus on the conclusion and draw the bridge between the premise and the conclusion, but attack the conclusion. There are these distinct pattern types, right? X leads to Y, reverse causality, something, all those things. Like I was able to identify what is being tested in each point in every question. That really helped. And similarly, the same thing for quant. As long as you're able to do that with OG, at least the leave aside the review books, but OG, if you know what is being tested on each question, I think then the pattern just kind of repeats.
Mm.
So that approach kind of helped me out. And of course, timing, right? I would have there's an online software called GMAT Timer. So I would do blocks of questions
Mm.
and I would use that to press A, B, C, D, E, and they'll give you a time. So I honestly did every question with the timer on because I'm using the laptop, right?
Mm.
Either the online version, and so timer really helped to keep a track of time. So I knew that okay, CR, I'm like tough questions, I'm taking 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, I need to reduce that. passages I'm taking more time to read. How can I reduce?
Mm.
So I think all this has to start from day one, where you start getting the time in your head. And I believe that your brain kind of gets used to it. When it sees a sentence correction question, it gets trained to
True.
solve it within 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, or whatever.
True, true. So on the D-Day when you actually took the test, was it as what you imagined it would be? Because, in terms of, what you were thinking, right? You'll
So,
figure out the patterns and you'll figure
so,
out, the complexity of each question. How was it on the D-Day on the real test?
so I so I again, I had spoken to people who've taken the GMAT, read through forums that what's it like on the real day. Of course, I did take it back in the day, but it's been what, 7 8 years since I last took the GMAT. 7 years. So one thing was that this really helped is you have to do tests. There's no other way to simulate the scenario other than doing tests. And I feel I went ahead and bought all the test series from the GMAT prep, the official exam.
Mm.
And I think, that really, really helped me. That little investment, what, $80 $90 that I bought the test series. And after every interval of time, like this is my, my room, I would simulate a test environment. And for students taking it now, I'm not sure how it's working in other countries, but in Singapore, you need to wear a mask for 3.5 hours while taking the exam. So I actually wrote all my practice tests with a mask on. And it's a funny thing. It's a good hack. So for us who wear specs, your specs tend to get foggy. So there's a trick to it, that you wear a mask and you put a bandage on top.
Mm.
And I found some YouTube hack video that kind of helped, and that doesn't make your glasses go foggy, because all this affects you in that 3.5 hours. You are under immense stress. You're doing an exam and you have to have a mask on, and your glasses are getting foggy. So you got to simulate all this at home. So
Yeah.
I would sit down. I'm guilty. I wouldn't write the passages, right? I would do verbal, quant, and IR, but
Mm.
I didn't write the passages. But if you can, you should.
Mm.
But yeah, I would sit down, start a timer. They say that you should kind of simulate it at the same time where you plan to take the test,
Mm.
because it depends on a lot of factor. How are you feeling at that point in time during the day, right? Are you feeling hungry at that point in time? Does your brain function the best? Or for some people, taking an afternoon slot works, or taking a super early morning slot works. So you got to simulate that, because I think that really makes a difference.
True. True.
So my slot was at 10:30. So Saturdays was when I would take the exam, or Saturdays 10:30, 11. I would try to keep it around. And yeah, I would just sit down, lock my room, do verbal, exactly give myself 8 minutes. Uh, Another hack that I used, it really worked for me, is that during that break, if you eat something or just keep your mind going, it works. So I would eat a Snicker bar, a Snicker chocolate. It did help me. So, and I would simulate the same thing. Like I would not drink water between the exam, not visit the, washroom or whatever. So simulate the thing and do it consistently for 2 3 weeks. Most of it I was able to, but certain things I realized that if I would have done it earlier, would have been better. For example, the timing strategy came much later
Mm.
in my GMAT prep,
Mm.
but I should have started using the timing strategy. Like my timing strategy was this. It can differ from person to person, but uh, 11 minutes for 8 verbal questions, 8 minutes for 4 quant questions. And
Mhm.
for quant, I divided my. And another thing that I did, and I think I would recommend people to do that. So we work with what, when you're solving questions at home, you use a ballpoint pen and a paper. But the real exam is not like that. You get a vertical book, which is a laminated book,
Yeah, with
and
the mark.
with a marker. And it is not the same as using a ballpoint pen and paper. It's very different. So
Mm.
again, Amazon actually has that. You can buy that. And I bought that, and that also, I think that really helped. That again, I spoke to a friend, and she told me, you can buy this off Amazon, and I did it. And it was then I was able to simulate the entire exam scenario. So you have a vertical. Those pads are pretty different. Like they
Yeah,
have those rows and columns, and it's a vertical pad.
yeah.
So yeah, I did all of that to try and simulate an environment as much as possible at home. But you there are certain tricks So I spoke to Arvind sir before my exam. The last exam that I took was really bad. Like few days before my exam, my score dropped. I firstly, now when I look back, I feel I was tensed. But uh, so I spoke to Arvind sir. Like I think again, this is my personal opinion. As what I've heard from others is that, see, GMAT, as we know how the algorithm works, right? It gets tougher with every question. So if you suddenly get a tough quant question in the middle,
Mm.
should you spend 3-4 minutes trying to solve that and get it wrong? Or do you pick your battles? Like you say that, okay, I'm going to guess, take an educative guess, tick it and move on. And probably I gain two more questions, which are easier and I can complete that faster. So that strategy also worked on my real exam day. To be honest, the quant questions did get tougher after a certain point in time, but again, I chose my battles. I was like, okay, this question I'm going to, I'm going to guess, but okay, I can point out it's between A and C. I'm going to move it and move on. That worked. But if I would have done all this from test two itself, like earlier, it would have been much better.
Mm.
So all these strategies on how to adapt, when things get tough, when to skip, when to tell your brain that no, we have this, because the exams we've written from childhood is that you need to solve a math question till the end. But for data sufficiency, you don't need that, right?
Yeah.
So to train your brain to say that, okay, I'm good, I've got the answer, move on, or to say that I can skip this question, or I can take an educative guess and move on. All this should come in from day one, day two of your test,
Mm.
and it really helps.
Yeah.
So it's an adaptive process. On the final day, it's also on, I would say, luck is also a big factor. Things just fell into place. But I think the most important thing, see, if you I feel that if I have been able to, get a 710, like if you do the OG material and just follow the crack verbal webinars and do the prepathons, etc. I 700 is, it is, I feel it's achievable. It's not that hard. But one main factor that actually brings a difference is how easygoing or how cool are you before the exam.
Mm.
If you get stressed, even if you're scoring 740s, 750s, or 700 plus in a mock test, on the real day, it can bring your score down. So I think another key aspect of the exam, and possibly one of the things that they're testing, is how can you keep yourself cool, like as cool as possible. And that makes a huge difference. I feel that can get you a 20-30 marks points difference in the exam for sure.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think amazing points, and what you mentioned is true. A couple of things that you pointed out. One is that it's a very adaptive process, right? That
Yeah. Yeah.
you learn with each
Yeah.
step, you learn new
Yeah.
things, and you
Yeah.
figure out, okay, this is how there is course correction required.
Yeah.
Second is, most importantly, keeping your cool throughout the process,
Yeah.
and rather starting with the third one, which I believe is the most important, is continuously analyze
Yeah.
what you're learning, where you're going wrong, figuring out what you should do to fix those things. I think these are some amazing points that you brought up, Abhishek. So what now? So 710, amazing career progression, great job,
Yeah.
applying this year for R1. What is the plan going?
So the plan now is, I'm spending the next couple of weeks to uh, come up with my story. Like I know the kind of roles that I aspire for. I know the kind of skill sets that I need and where's the gap. So the next couple of weeks, I'm drafting a story in my head as to, how am I going to uh, convince the application members of each school, uh, that I really want to be a part of that program and how the program is going to help me. So I'm doing that. So yeah, the plan is 2022 round one, selected a list of schools. I'm looking at shorter programs, 1 year programs, or primarily looking at Europe and Singapore as well. I have a very Asia centric profile and been in this part of the world for most of my career. So yeah, the school selection and the planning process, and yeah, so my plan was if I can get it done by May. Now I have decided that I'm going to go with my current score, keeping in mind my you know application, like my work experience, etc. So I'm going to go ahead with 710. But I also had in mind that I want to write it by May or end of April, May, that in case I want to take it again, right? Or I still have the bandwidth to take another try. So that was also part of the planning process. But I do definitely want to apply by round one. So by September, October, I want all my applications to go out. So yeah, that's the plan.
Awesome, awesome. So let me know, Abhishek, if you need any help,
Yeah,
even to discuss your story or anything, just, let me.
absolutely. Yeah,
We can, get onto a call to see if we can discuss anything of
yeah.
that.
So I've already been in touch with someone from your team,
All right.
and we have done the initial round of discussion. But yeah,
Yeah.
I feel Crackpurple has been a big part of this journey, because I think GMAT is the first step and a big step towards achieving the final goal. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abhishek.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much for your time. And I think we had a very amazing discussion, so many insights. And I'm sure this will inspire a lot of people who are, who were maybe who are going to be in your shoes of what you were last year this
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you giving
Thank
me
you.
your
Thank you
time.
so much for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, and I think we'll connect again whenever you
Yes,
want.
absolutely. And please convey my regards to Arun sir. Like I met him like back in the day when I was in Bangalore, but a massive thank you to him and Arvind sir. Like I can't thank them enough. Like I honestly feel that sentence correction, even like 5 years down the line, I should be okay to, crack a few questions just based on the strategies. Like a big thank you to him.
Sure, sure. I'll let him know
Yes.
that. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Abhishek.
so much. Great
Take
talking to you.
care.
Have a
Yeah.
great
Thank
weekend.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye.